Praise be to Jesus Christ, and welcome to Catholic Forum. I'm Jeff Dunst, your host for this evening, and tonight we're going to be talking about family and family issues, and in particularly a historic family event that's coming to the United States for the first time in since its inception. And here to talk with us about that tonight is Mark Mann. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mark is the Diocese Director of Youth, Young Adult, and Family Ministries.
You got it.
Okay, so there's several ministries pulled into one position?
It is.
And how long have you been in this role?
16 years now.
Okay, and this is you're the first of this role?
That it's been combined like this in our diocese, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've always had a youth ministry guide to the diocese, but is family a new thing, or is that?
No, we've had family life director in the past, but I was really the first to be hired into the position as it was combined 16 years ago.
Okay.
It's been a blessing ever since.
Is there is it a hard differentiation between the roles, especially youth to young adult?
Well, I don't think so. Especially since we say that parents are the primary catechists to their children. And we know that the way that faith grows best is in the family. Right. That the top 4 ways that kids, they catch faith is prayer together as a family, service together as a family, talking with dad and talking with mom about issues of faith. So all of that has to do with that first school of discipleship, the home.
Right.
There's youth ministry happening already.
Right. Now, is that something that's sort of evaporating in our culture, do you think, from your perception of the idea of the home, let alone the home as being the birthplace of faith?
I don't know that I would say evaporating, but do families recognize their call to be the church in the world? And that's really what this World Meeting of Families that's coming up is focusing on.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the World Meeting of Youth, World Meeting of Families. All right. Now, this is not just a single event, but it's a process.
It is.
A couple of days from now, from the recording of the show, where it's the bishops are getting together to start a planning process, or continue a planning process? Well,
they're meeting together as an extraordinary synod. The bishops, in serving in their role in the College of Bishops together with the Pope, can inform the Pope and the Vatican, as well as the worldwide church, on specific issues. And so they meet every 2 or 3 years as a synod of bishops. Pope Francis called for an extraordinary synod on the family to deal with the pastoral care of the family in the context of the new evangelization. And that's starting this Sunday. And we'll meet for 10 days following. Bishops together reviewing what they have heard from their own diocese and from a survey that had been sent out back in last November.
Right.
And all of that will become a preparation document after their conversation for the next 10 days. Will become a preparation document to get ready for the next Synod of Bishops, which will happen a year from now, a regular Synod of Bishops. And then from there, that will provide some pastoral direction to the church on it being in ministry with families in the world today.
Okay. So
in between that is this World Meeting of Families.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia gets to host.
Was I correct in saying this is the first time in the United States?
Yes.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
First time ever in the United States that we're hosting the World Meeting of Families. We've hosted other world events before, like World Youth Day was held in Denver back in '93. Right. The first World Meeting of Families happened just the year later, in 1994. Pope John Paul had conceived of this, that when the UN had declared that 1994 would be the year of the family, International Year of the Family. Okay. And the Vatican followed suit. And Pope John Paul, knowing that this was coming along, conceived of this idea of an encounter, or in Spanish, encuentro, of families. And that in itself entails a process of study and prayer coming together then to celebrate at the major event, the capstone event, which will be this year in Philadelphia. The first one was held in Rome in 1994, and following that is moved around the world. Rio de Janeiro, Manila, Milan, Mexico City. And this year now, every 3 years they meet, and this year will be in Philadelphia.
Okay. All right. Paradoxically, the city of brotherly love.
No mistake in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully that becomes a background or a context for the sharing of the theme, which is love is our mission, the family fully alive. They took the theme, the inspiration for the theme is from St. Irenaeus, who's famously quoted for saying, the glory of God is man fully alive. And so too with the family.
Mm-hmm.
So love is our mission, the family fully alive has been named as the theme and set in the city of, as you said, brotherly love, Philadelphia. Okay.
Now, going back to the original idea of this from St. John Paul II, has it built on that, the same concept, the same format, the same structure? Because a lot of times we hear about World Youth Day, that's a fairly visible event, mm-hmm. and you see the structure, you see the marathon walk, the rosary
yeah.
being done, the camping out, all
mm-hmm.
these things that go on in that event. Are there like things that happen in this event?
There will be to a degree. But where World Youth Day is more focused on catechesis and prayer and celebration of young people together with the Pope, this is focused more on certainly prayer. Mass will be celebrated daily with families. Again, they expect families from 150 countries to attend. Anywhere from 15 to 20,000 people. And that might be some of the differences to why we've heard about World Youth Day, because we see the millions that gathered on the beach in Rio de Janeiro, for instance, at the latest World Youth Day. Whereas the World Meeting of Families, because it's been a smaller gathering, you don't hear as much about it unless you're in a family life office like myself. Right. So then you hear about it that way. There will be what the main activity for World Meeting of Families is a congress. It's a theological pastoral congress on whatever the specific theme is named for the World Meeting. Mm-hmm. And so families will gather together, adults and young adults gather together with bishops and cardinals and priests. They'll have a series of 6 different keynotes over 3 days, and then the opportunity to dialogue with one another about that topic. There's also a youth track for teenagers, right. as well as a track for elementary school children to attend as well. And that'll all be taking place in the Philadelphia Convention Center.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it'll all be contained right in the same building.
Okay. And those numbers aren't as profoundly, as you say, the millions of
right.
World Youth Day, so it is manageable and something,
correct.
Something of that size.
Where it will blow up, if you will, is to the numbers of 1 million, and they expect a little over 1 million people. If the Pope confirms his attendance, and the papal office never confirms the travel of the Pope until 6 months out, so we have to wait a little while. Archbishop Chaput is very certain, as the Archbishop of Philadelphia, that the Pope will be attending from their conversations. And certainly we saw some of that in the news over the past month, that the rumors out that the Pope would be coming to the U.S. To attend this meeting. If he does indeed come, then they will, in addition to the Congress, there will be a vigil with the Pope on Saturday evening, and then the Sunday morning with the closing Mass. And they expect that'll be on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia, which is highly urban. Mm-hmm, yeah. But people are going to spend the night on the street, whole families, together with everyone else, much like keeping vigil in St. Peter's Square until the next day for a papal Mass.
Right.
And they expect close to 1 million people to participate in the closing Mass there.
Yeah. Would they, if he comes for this Congress, would they also expect that he make a couple other stops while he's here?
Perhaps. I know the invitation was extended for him to go up to New York and to address the United Nations.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the likelihood is also that it would be his first visit to the United States.
Yes.
Okay.
As the Pope.
Right, as the Pope, if he accepts. Okay. Right. Has historically the Pope never or not come?
Historically, the Pope has always attended and celebrated the closing Mass.
Okay. All right. How much how much of a diocese, the local diocese attendance or activity been in the past meetings?
We really, like you said, not a lot of people have heard about it. So we really haven't had attendance at these World Meetings of Families.
Okay.
So this will be a first opportunity for us as a diocese since it was first conceived of.
Yeah, we're talking, what was it, about 20 years into existence, 21 years at that point.
Yeah.
And as a country, we're finally being sort of introduced to it to some extent.
Right.
In your time as director, have you seen, or again, a much American even activity or a much American attendance in?
Yes, there certainly has been that.
So the representation has been there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But more of that previously had been coordinated through the U.S. Bishop's Office out of Washington, D.C. for people to be able to attend. This, because we're hosting it actually here in the United States, it's really up to each local bishop to promote it through their family life office and to coordinate people attending and their participation.
Okay, do you see this as now pretty much the start of that promotional time period?
I do, yeah. Preparations have begun in earnest with promoting this and raising awareness. Our Faith magazine will be carrying a series over the next 10 issues outlining a theme of the preparatory catechesis, as well as giving some details on how to get involved and participate in the World Meeting.
Okay, do you want to address the book?
Sure.
A little bit?
Yeah, the preparation is mainly catechesis for families to do either on their own, together as a family, to read through the chapter together, and there's questions to talk about as a family. But even better yet, to meet with other families, maybe in their parish or in each other's homes on a monthly basis, work through the preparation document. And the great thing about the World Meeting of Families this time around is that you can certainly attend in person, but they're also going to be live streaming all of the keynote events. Right. So my hope is that we also have smaller meetings of families going on all throughout our diocese,
right,
where families can perhaps celebrate Mass, the daily Mass, at their local parish, and then get a live feed on the internet of the presentation, and then talk together, maybe share a simple meal, and then come back the next day for because it'll happen Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay, so that's as official meetings.
Correct.
All right,
Correct.
But isn't there a whole, like, you said there's a week-long preparation, or is it, well, you said Tuesday,
well, that's
Thursday,
the week-long
Friday.
celebration,
Yeah,
and Congress.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So the preparation, the catechetical preparation, takes that theme we were talking about, love is our mission, and really breaks it open.
Right.
It starts with
you'll pretty much do need a year to break that open.
Yeah, in a way. And then from there, each of the talks that'll be given either by a cardinal or by an expert, someone who's recognized an expert on the family, will be providing the keynote address for that day, and then there'll be the opportunity to dialogue after that.
Okay.
And again, it's an international encounter. You're going to be talking with people from 150 different countries, and
right,
as well as bishops and cardinals and priests. So.
Just on a technical level, how do you handle something like that? Do you expect everyone to speak the hosting language, or what do you do with that?
Well, my understanding is that a lot of how they are able to do the instantaneous translation is through radio stations. They use the same technique at World Youth Day.
Low frequency.
Exactly,
okay.
Exactly. So you just turn on your transmitter radio, and then you're able to hear the speaker, whatever language they're speaking, you'll be able to hear in one of, typically it's 6 to 7 languages.
Okay, so these speakers are also international, they're just not.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
So bringing people from all over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds exciting, especially the idea that this is something I could spend the time and money that it would take to go to Philadelphia, get immersed in it for the week, but also if I don't have the time or the money, I could stay home and still get as immersed in it as I can on a local level.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
You bet. And that would certainly be my hope, that as many people as can have the opportunity to participate at some level of participation, we'll do that.
So do you see yourself as, in part, organizing people who would be going to as a travel agency type of role, as well as people who are trying to meet here?
Yes.
Okay, so you do have both
My
things
office
going on.
is going to be coordinating those efforts.
Okay, and both of those going on at the same time.
Right.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Thanks.
Wow,
Thanks.
That's quite a role, quite a job undertaking. Now, how much advance notice did you know that it was coming to the United States, and you knew that this is going to be a profound thing for us?
At the end of each World Meeting of Families, the Pope has, traditionally the Pope, as we've mentioned, has announced where the next World Meeting of Families will take place. So at the end of the meeting in Milan 3 years ago, Philadelphia, it was announced that we would be hosting the next World Meeting of Families. So I've known for a while. And as a family life director, we have a national meeting every summer as an association of family life directors, diocesan as well as parish ministers. And that was an opportunity, as I've attended those past meetings, that both this past summer and the summer before that, to learn more about the preparations that were going on in Philadelphia, and then certainly with the development of their website and some of the press releases that Philadelphia has offered, then you're able to stay informed. The website is fully developed, and they're getting ready to open registration, in fact, sometime yet this fall.
Oh, is that right?
So you'll have the opportunity to register
Okay, so they're
very soon.
All right, they're certainly amped up too then.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more than we are here locally.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I want to stir in the idea of a little bit of what we talked about before, the natural law ideas. We're talking about how the family is the original catechumens for the kids, as well as the teacher for the kids, certainly the educator for the kids. Do we still see that in the United States? Do we feel that? Do you think there's a need for
a World Meeting of Families?
Yeah.
Oh, certainly.
An awakening to that idea.
Certainly.
Again?
You know, I think we have a double opportunity here with the World Meeting of Families being hosted by the United States. Certainly with any of the media attention that may be on Philadelphia when the event actually happens, and especially if the Pope comes, that will certainly draw. But what that gives us the opportunity to do is, first, is proclaim the gospel of the family.
Right.
And that's a phrase that the Synod is using, the gospel of the family. And I mean to say the truth, the goodness, and the beauty of what it means to be a family. We'll be able to proclaim that in earnest. St. John Paul II outlined in his encyclical on the family 4 truths of what it means to be the family, or the church of the home. We have the teaching from the Second Vatican Council that the smallest cell of the church in the world is not the parish, but the family, the church of the home, the domestic church, if you will.
Right.
And he outlines 4 truths of what that means, that family life is sacred, that all family activity is holy, and certainly both of those would call us to, as Catholics, and as Catholics in a family home, to think about even the most practical questions, like how do we speak to one another?
Right.
How do we address one another?
So to some extent, that conversation would become a sacrament.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The other 2 truths that St. John Paul outlined was that each family has a unique ministry. That the Spirit is gifted not only each individual member, but the family as a whole, to be His witness in the world. So what is that unique ministry that your family has to be the church in the world, is another question that we can ask ourselves and continue to discern as Catholics, as Catholic parents, and as Catholic families. And then lastly, that we're an evangelizing community.
Right. And as you said, with Pope Francis's draw toward stirring into the new evangelization.
Exactly.
How are we as family evangelizing?
Yep. And in the most basic ways, you know, to our neighbors. We don't necessarily have to, you know, be a herald, if you will. But in the very simple conversations that you have over a cup of coffee with your neighbor, you know,
Right.
or at the edge of the driveway,
Right.
you know, and how we treat one another, you know, and that's where I think good evidence of it is the fruits of the Spirit. You know, scripturally we have
Right.
that, as St. Paul outlines them, that peace, patience, kindness, generosity, chastity, courtesy.
Yeah, how often do you hear, excuse me, how often do you hear joy coming out of the window as opposed to something else coming out of the window of the neighbor?
Yeah, yeah. So that it gives us that opportunity to proclaim that that truth, those four truths of the family. But it also is it's a double opportunity, as I was saying earlier. That the second opportunity we have is that because we're coming from all different parts of the world, and Archbishop Paglia of the Pontifical Council of the Family, that's the organizing group together with the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, both Archbishop Paglia and Archbishop Chaput have made an open invitation that anyone who wants to attend, Catholic or not, believing or not, are welcome to be part of this meeting of families.
Okay.
And so there's an opportunity that we have for dialogue.
Right.
And for coming to a mutual understanding and really evangelization, even in the context of that meeting, World Meeting of Families.
Right. It seems the Holy Family is going to be playing a role in this.
Very much, very much. Each World Meeting of Families actually has an icon that has been commissioned and written or painted for each World Meeting of Families. And the icon for this one was just unveiled this past month and was presented at the Vatican by Archbishop Chaput together with the preparatory catechesis.
Okay.
And that icon will be featured in the cathedral in Philadelphia for people to be able to make a pilgrimage to.
Okay. Now, how far is the cathedral from the convention center?
That's a great question. I'll add that to my to-do list.
That'd be something. Maybe do we crawl it, or do we walk it, or do we take a duck boat?
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, you said we were talking about the numbers of people attending. How many do you suspect will? Have you heard inklings from the diocese yet of people interested? I heard about this thing. What is it? Can I get involved? How would I do?
I haven't yet, except among our own staff. We're all very excited about the possibility of the Pope coming and this international meeting taking place in the United States. But we hope, again, through that series of articles in Faith Magazine and what we publish on our own website, as well as media attention, especially around that the Synod is happening for the next 10 days, that people will start hearing about it and will really start praying about and discerning how might they be called to participate in this World Meeting of Families.
Yeah. What would be their first step if they felt compelled and called?
If they felt called, yeah, because the first step really is prayer.
Right.
It's
right.
discernment.
Yeah.
But second would be taking advantage of that preparatory catechesis, getting a copy of the book through the World Meeting website or through our local Catholic bookstore carries it, and people are certainly welcome to be able to purchase it through there, and then begin meeting together as a family or with other families.
Would that precede even me calling you then?
Well, they're certainly welcome to call me with any questions or about logistics, but again, we're going to outline in that Faith magazine not only the summary of the preparation, the preparatory catechesis, but also the logistical preparation, things to think about in getting ready. And we'll also include the address to the World Meeting, the official website of the World Meeting.
Okay.
So people will also have a chance to see what all is involved by visiting the website and to get more information.
Would they register on?
They'll register directly on the website.
On that website.
Right.
Okay.
And then I'm still finding out again, it's a year from now. There's still details that are being considered. And I hope one of the details is that the World Meeting, the organizing committee, will be sharing the list of names with the local bishops who from their diocese is planning to attend. That is, people register, and then we can be able to reach out and contact families that way and give some overall coordination.
Okay.
So
so
otherwise, it's certainly helpful if families call my office directly.
Right.
And then if people don't have the Faith magazine, because that's certainly the main vehicle that we're going to communicate a lot of the preparation, they're certainly welcome to call Cammie Beecroft, who's our editor, at the diocesan offices to find out how to get on the mailing list.
Okay. Now, would you? What is the website? Let's start there.
For the World Meeting?
For the World Meeting. How do they go now?
As World Meeting 2015, worldmeeting2015.org.
Okay, great. So it's simple to get there, look at what possibilities are. Does it have a rundown, like we talked about before, the events, some of the things are
It does.
itinerary type of
Yes.
things?
Yeah, it does. They haven't yet announced who the keynote speakers will be.
Okay.
But they do have a lot of information about the city of Philadelphia. They have an image of the icon that's been painted and some background information about that. They have some of the preparation of catechesis, including letters to parents of high school teens and letters to parents of elementary children. There's also one corner of the website, if you will, metaphorically, a place to light a candle for your family, to pray for your family, or to pray for a loved one.
Okay.
So
Right.
you can light a virtual candle online.
All right.
And then you can also find out about every World Meeting has patron saints
All right.
through whom we're asking intercession for the success of this, for the safety of all the pilgrims that will be traveling,
Right.
and for the fruit, for each World Meeting to really bear the fruit that it's intended to bear. St. John Paul
Right.
is one of the patron saints. And then St. Gianna, and I cannot pronounce her last name, Italian, I should have practiced, I apologize. But St. Gianna is the other.
Okay.
And one of the modern saints that had been canonized by St. John Paul II.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. What would be the last thing you want them to know, people to know right now, or to think right now about World Meeting of the Families?
To think about this as an opportunity, whether you participate by going to Philadelphia or by participating through the virtual live streaming, to find out how to become the church in the world.
Great. Great. Thank you very much, Mark, for the word on the World Meeting of Families, and we
My
invite
pleasure.
you to pray on that and to get hold of the website. And God bless you, and God bless us in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.